Today, we're going to talk about a feeling that I think a lot of us have had. It's that slow drift away from social media. You know, it's not some big, dramatic exit. It's more like a quiet fading of interest. And it turns out, psychology has a really fascinating take on what this actually means for your personal growth. I mean, does this feel familiar? You open up an app, you start scrolling, but instead of feeling connected or excited, it just feels, well, loud. It's the same kinds of posts, the same trends, the same endless feed. If you felt that, trust me, you are not alone. It's a super common turning point. And here's the big idea we're exploring today. That feeling of disconnect, it's not just you being bored. Psychologically, it's a powerful signal that you're evolving. Your priorities are shifting on a really deep fundamental level. So let's kind of walk through that journey. To really get why the appeal feeds, we have to go back to the beginning. Why was it so captivating in the first place? Because let's be real, the initial pull of social media is incredibly powerful, and that is all by design. A lot of that appeal is just rooted in our biology. I mean, these platforms are basically engineered to give us these quick, satisfying little dopamine hits. Every single like, every comment, every new post, and that never-ending scroll, it activates the reward center of your brain. It creates this feedback loop that just keeps you hooked and coming back for more. But, like any high, it just doesn't last forever. Eventually, something starts to shift. That initial excitement begins to wear off, and what once felt fun can start to feel, well, like a chore. And this slide right here perfectly illustrates that change. At first, all those rewards felt new and exciting, right? But over time, your brain gets smart. It starts to recognize the patterns and the rewards become predictable. Your brain knows what's coming, so that little hit of excitement just isn't as strong anymore. This quote really just captures that feeling perfectly. It's not like you're forcing yourself to lose interest. Your own brain is naturally losing interest for you. The magic is gone because all the novelty has just worn off. And it's not just about the predictable rewards. There's also this thing called comparison fatigue. We are exposed to a nonstop highlight reel of everybody else's lives, which, as psychology shows us, creates this endless cycle of comparison that just slowly chips away at our own satisfaction. Eventually, the platform starts losing its pull when you realize the emotional toll it's taking. So this growing fatigue actually leads to the most crucial part of this whole journey. As the external world of social media becomes less and less rewarding, you naturally start to turn inward. And this is a massive psychological shift. And this is the key concept, intrinsic self-worth. It's all about building a sense of value that isn't dependent on what other people think. Your confidence starts coming from your own actions, your own principles, your own achievements, not from a number on a screen. So how does this actually happen? Well, first, you just naturally stop relying on likes to feel good about yourself. Then, you start building real confidence from what you do out in the world. And as that happens, the need to prove your worth to an online audience, it just kind of dissolves. And suddenly, posting every little detail of your life starts to feel completely unnecessary. Now, this internal shift, it has very real consequences on the outside. As your own sense of self-worth gets stronger, your priorities start to change in a really big way. What you value just fundamentally transforms. The first huge change is you start valuing privacy. Oversharing just doesn't feel natural anymore. In fact, it can feel downright uncomfortable. You start to realize that not every moment needs to be a public performance. And psychology links this desire for privacy directly to emotional maturity, because you no longer need other people to validate your experiences. The memory itself is enough. You also start to guard your mental energy. Our brains have to process everything we see online, all the opinions, the trends, that constant fire hose of information, and honestly, it leads to mental fatigue. Valuing your peace means valuing clarity over that constant noise, and social media is often the first thing you decide to filter out. And ultimately, you just begin to prioritize real life. The focus shifts from passively consuming content to actively living. Your time and your energy get invested in things that actually matter, like developing a skill, chasing a goal, or nurturing real face-to-face relationships. Let's be honest, passive scrolling just can't compete with that. So, as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to frame this change in the right way. This isn't some grand act of rebellion against technology. It's something much quieter and much more profound. It's really an evolution. You probably won't have some big "I'm quitting social media" announcement. Instead, its relevance in your life just sort of slowly and naturally fades away.
You simply stop showing up as much because your focus and your energy are being put somewhere else, into a life that feels more authentic and more fulfilling to you.
And this right here just brilliantly illustrates the entire shift. At its core, this whole journey is a trade. You're trading the pursuit of external attention for the peace and substance of personal privacy. That's a simple idea, but an incredibly powerful change in values. And that's really the bottom line. This isn't about the technology itself. It's about your own internal evolution. It's a sign that you are growing, you are maturing, and you're redefining what success and happiness mean to you on your own terms. So, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. As you consider your own relationship with the digital world, what are you finding more valuable today than you did, say, a few years ago? The answer to that might tell you a whole lot about where you're headed next.